Hold up before you buy another 9mm, just because the internet keeps calling it the one. That label has cost guys more money than bad triggers, bad ammo, and bad holsters combined. Look, a pistol feels perfect in the hand, looks nasty under glass, shoots one clean magazine, and everybody starts nodding like the decision is done. Then 3 weeks later, it's printing through a shirt, chewing up a belt, costing too much to feed, or sitting in a drawer because nobody makes the holster you actually need. That's not owning a gun. That's babysitting a mistake. So this list isn't 7 9mm pistols that look cool on camera. These are the 7 9mm pistols I'd actually want to live with in 2026. One budget gun makes expensive buyers uncomfortable. One serious pistol feels like overkill until it starts making ugly sense. And number one is boring as hell, which is exactly why it scares me. I almost walked past the Canik METE SF, and that still pisses me off a little. Last month, outside San Antonio, it sat in the same glass case as the louder names, wearing a price tag that made it look like the responsible compromise. Not the serious pick. Not the one a grown man brags about. I already had my short list of 9mm I was willing to own, and the METE SF wasn't on it. Then I ran it. The first mag slapped the smirk off my face. The trigger was cleaner than that price had any right to buy. The grip locked in without skateboard tape, backstrap circus, or some goofy aftermarket rescue plan. Recoil stayed flat enough that I quit fighting the pistol and started pushing the hits faster. After 2 mags, the ugly part showed up. I was shooting the METE SF harder and cleaner than a couple pistols I had paid noticeably more for. That is where the logo tax starts feeling stupid. A lot of 9mm in 2026 ask you to pay for the name first and performance second. The Canik flips it. Solid trigger, usable ergonomics, optics-ready setup, enough capacity, and it doesn't feel like a toy that needs 3 upgrades before trust starts. Holsters, resale, and old name confidence still favor the big dogs. Fine. But when a budget gun shoots beside expensive pistols and makes them look lazy, the question gets uncomfortable. Why are you still paying more for less? The old micro on my belt felt fine that morning. Hot truck seat, grocery stop, shirt sticking to my back, the usual carry nonsense. I had already made peace with the bargain. Smaller gun, fewer rounds, sharper recoil, easier concealment, simple trade. I even defended it like I had discovered religion. Then somebody handed me the SIG P365 X-Macro after a long, sweaty range session, and I wanted to hate it right away. I expected a stretched micro with SIG hype stapled to the side. It didn't feel like that. Under a shirt, the X-Macro still disappeared better than it had any right to. Not invisible, not magic, but close enough that I stopped waiting for it to punish me. Then I drew it from concealment, tired and irritated. And the old argument cracked. More grip, more control. 17 rounds sitting there without turning the pistol into a compact brick. The P365 X-Macro did not make my old carry gun bad. It made my excuses sound old. No, it is not perfect. It still snaps more than a true compact. The price stings, and SIG mags remind you real quick that confidence has a receipt. But the danger with the X-Macro is how normal it starts to feel. Carry it once, shoot it hard, then go back to the smaller gun. That old bargain feels a lot harder to defend. And after that, the problem stopped being size and capacity. It turned into something more annoying. Why so many modern compacts still feel half-finished? Counter guy saw me right after New Year's and already had that look. Like he knew my complaint before I opened my mouth. Then he slid the Springfield Echelon 4.0C across the glass, and I almost pushed it back. Not because it felt bad. That was the problem. It felt too planned. Too clean. Like Springfield built the pistol from every complaint shooters throw online. I don't trust guns like that at first. They look perfect under store lights. Then, 3 weeks later, you're staring at the receipt wondering why it still bugs you. The guy caught my face and said, "Don't judge it here. Judge what it lets you do after you own it." That line bothered me. A couple of days later, I treated it like a real setup. Nightstand roll, range bag roll, optic mounted without turning the garage into a cussing contest. Then I ran it hard enough to find the fake part. No lightning bolt, no love story. Worse than that, the Echelon 4.0C started removing excuses. Every complaint I reached for had already been handled. By the end, I wasn't excited. I was irritated. Springfield still has to earn the old trust people hand Glock and SIG for free. That flaw stays real. But in 2026, the ugly question hits fast. Are you judging the pistol or just punishing the logo? And after that, the list gets rougher. Great. Another Glock-shaped pistol. That came out of my mouth before the Ruger RXM even fired a round. Same basic shape. Same magazine pattern. Same controls sitting where my hands already expected them. I picked it up ready for the usual act. Almost a Glock, cheaper on the tag. Corners showing by the second box of ammo. That cheap copy feeling never really arrived. And that pissed me off more than a malfunction would have. The RXM's trick is dirty. It borrows the language your hands already speak. Draw it, reload it, clear it, drive it back on target, and your brain keeps trying to call it lazy while your hands keep running it clean. After a few hundred rounds, I was still waiting for the shame to show up. Waiting for that little moment where I went, yep, there's the knockoff. Instead, the Magpul grip module sat right. The gun tracked, honestly. And I kept shooting it like something I already trusted before my ego gave permission. That's the disruption. Not that Ruger copied a familiar formula. Everybody does that. The RXM makes familiars feel useful instead of stale. It still lives under the shadow of the pistol it resembles. And long-term trust takes years, not a hot weekend. But I kept waiting to feel like I was shooting the replacement gun. My hands never got that memo. Timer was already screaming, brass was rolling under everybody's shoes, and 3 lanes over a newer shooter had a PSA Dagger Compact running harder than half the expensive pistols on that line. Not the gun alone, the whole setup. Extra mags, real holster, enough ammo to stay a while and actually learn. A couple guys with prettier pistols kept wiping slides like they brought museum pieces to a class. The dagger did not look premium. The finish, the feel, the rough edges showed where the money did not go. Nobody should pretend it is luxury. But he kept shooting, reloading, screwing up, fixing it, shooting again. That pistol got dirty, hot, handled badly, and stayed in the drill. That hit harder than a clean bench test, because worth buying in 2026 does not mean the gun that makes you feel rich for 10 minutes. It means the one you can own, feed, carry, train with, and not fear scratching. That is why the dagger is dangerous. Not because it beats everything, but because it leaves money for the parts of ownership people pretend do not matter. If your budget is between a nicer pistol you barely shoot and a dagger setup you run hard, I do not like how close that decision gets. And what came after that stopped feeling like a budget argument. It felt like a duty gun showed up overdressed for a fight. At 2:13 in the morning, something hit the backside of the house hard enough to wake the dog before it woke me. That sound has a way of stripping the dumb opinions out of your head fast. No comment section, no brand fight, just dark hallway, bare feet, and a 9mm handgun that suddenly matters more than your pride. The FN 509 Tactical sat in the nightstand box, looking like too much pistol right up until that moment. Big grip, tall slide, extra weight, all the stuff people call overkill. When the lights are on and nothing bad is happening, then the house went quiet. That FN didn't feel cool. It felt serious, heavy enough to settle my hand, aggressive enough not to shift, simple enough that my half-awake brain didn't have to negotiate with it. I didn't need it to impress me. I needed it to be ready before I was. Nothing happened that night. Maybe a branch? Maybe some idiot near the fence? I still stood there too long, breathing wrong, listening to my own pulse like a fool. Later, I ran the 509 Tactical dirty, tired, low-light, rushed strings. It stayed planted, not soft, not pretty, stubborn. The flaw is real. It is bulky, expensive, and most buyers do not need this much pistol. But after one bad sound in the dark, too much gun starts sounding different. Only one pistol still beat it, and it did it by being almost insultingly easy to own. Need mags before a weekend class? Glock 19 Gen 5? Need a holster that doesn't come from some mystery guy with a 6-week backlog? Glock. Need sights replaced, parts swapped, ammo burned, or a loaner handed to a buddy without a damn lecture? Glock again. That is the annoying part. This pistol does not win the fun part. It wins the month after you buy it. Other 9mm flirt harder. Better triggers, better texture, better looking slides, smarter little systems that sound great until ownership starts asking for receipts. Then it gets stupid. One needs special mags. One has holster drama. One feels great, but nobody stocks the part you broke. One turns class prep into homework. The Glock 19. Gen 5 just sits there like a boring tool that already knows it has a job. Monthly training day proves it in the most boring way possible. Load mags, draw, shoot, reload, clear, repeat. No drama, no speech, no little moment where the heavens open. Just fewer problems than everything trying to be interesting. The flaws are old news. Grip angle bugs people. Trigger is plain. Factory sights are basic. Everybody is sick of hearing the name. The FN made me feel ready. The Glock made ownership stop arguing with me. I wanted number one to be cooler. It wasn't. The Glock won because actually owning the damn thing is where the cooler guns start getting needy. Not the loudest 9mm, not the newest, not the one with the cleanest booth video. The one you can actually own without fighting it every damn week. Carry it. Feed it. Find mags for it. Find holsters that don't feel like punishment. Train with it when you're tired, sweaty, irritated, and already sick of the ammo bill. That's where good-looking pistols start losing teeth. Some of these shoot nicer than number one. A couple feel more modern. One looks like it has no business being this high. But ownership exposes hype slow, and it doesn't care what brand name is stamped on the slide. Drop the 9mm you regret buying, and the boring one that somehow stayed. I'm Steve. The wrong gun rarely looks wrong at the counter. It waits until after you paid.